Greetings to all of you, my dear sisters and brothers, and my dear friends. A warm welcome to all of you from your Pastor Yeti. Yes, I am back on my broadcasting. I was sick. I had a pretty bad cold, where I'm still recovering of, but it's good to be back and trying to fill in the beautiful devotional studies and meditations with all of you, to share them with you, and welcome back. You know, when you're sick, you cannot sit it in front. Next week I will be sick, so anyway, I'm back. And we start a new week in the 52 greatest stories of the Bible, a devotional study. And what I'm going to try to do is, you know, when we mention Genesis, the first or the third chapter, I'm going to read the chapters to you. That makes it more comfortable to hear the story and to get in the story. I'm going to use the NIV translation. Every time when I'm going to take another translation, I always going to say it in front, so that you're not saying, oh, that's not quite same as in my Bible book. So anyway, let's come together and enjoy our time together. The promise of a nation. In Genesis 12, the call of Abraham. The Lord had said to Abraham, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household, to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." So Abraham went, as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abraham was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, all the possessions they had accumulated, and the people they had acquired in Haran. And they set out for the land of Canaan, and they arrived there. Abram traveled through the land as far as the site of the great tree of Moreh at Shechem. At that time, the Canaanites were in the land. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your offspring I will give this land." So he built an altar there to the Lord, who had appeared to him. From there he went on toward the hills east of Bethel and pitched his tent, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to the Lord and called on the name of the Lord. Then Abram set out and continued toward to Negev. Abraham in Egypt. Now there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down to Egypt to live there for a while, because of the famine was severe. As he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife Sarai, "I know what a beautiful woman you are. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife.' Then they will kill me, but will let you live. Say, 'You are my sister,' so that I will be treated well for your sake, and my life will be spared because of you." When Abram came to Egypt, the Egyptians saw that Sarai was a very beautiful woman. And when Pharaoh's officials saw her, they praised her to Pharaoh, and she was taken into his palace. He treated Abram well for her sake, and Abram acquired sheep and cattle, male and female donkeys, male and female servants, and camels. But the Lord inflicted serious diseases on Pharaoh's and his household because of Abraham's wife Sarai. So Pharaoh summoned Abram. "What have you done to me?" he said. "Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister, so that I took her to be my wife? Now then, here is your wife. Take her and go." And the Pharaoh gave orders about Abram to his men, and they sent him on his way with his wife and everything he had. To this part of chapter 12 of Genesis. The promise of a nation. The world was in a mess. And my thoughts come right on in that. Well, it's not better today. And nothing seemed to help. So God decided to have a chat with a man named Abram, who lived in a town called Ur. And God said, "Hey, Abram, I'm going to make you into a great nation." What's a nation? Abram may have asked. There weren't any of those around yet. And God may have explained that a nation is like a really, really big family. Oh, okay. There's just this one thing. I don't have any kids. And my wife is past the, let's just say that window's closed. Is that going to be a problem? God made a crazy promise to a random nobody who lived in the middle of nowhere that his barren wife would give him at least one child. And that through his child, a great nation would come and would bless the entire world. God had no reason to choose Abram, whose name was later changed to Abraham. There was nothing about him that would condemn him to God or indicate that he was a good choice to be a patriarch of the most famous people group in human history. But God chose him anyway. And if you think about it, Abraham had no good reason to obey God. There was no history, no documented evidence that this disembodied voice speaking from heaven or behind a bush or wherever it came from was anything other than last night's mutant talking back. The promise was so outrageous, so unreasonable. We would understand if Abraham had said, "Yeah, right," and gone on his merry way. But Abraham chose to believe anyway. We have to wonder how exactly Abraham explained all this to his wife Sarai, later called Sarah. Did Abraham go home and try to conceive a child that night? After all, it wasn't an immaculate conception. How would he explain his suddenly amorous behavior? You see, there was this voice that said we were going to have a child. So I figured we could maybe, well, you know. But there would be no child conceived that night. Days turned to weeks, turned to months, turned to years, turned to decades. 25 long years went by as the already old couple grew ancient. The temptation was always there to give up. Maybe the old fool had imagined it after all. Equally strong was the temptation to take matters into their own hands, so to speak. And maybe the promise didn't include Sarah, but was only for Abraham. Maybe if he found another woman. But Abraham kept believing. He kept trusting. When God said, "Go," he went. And one day, miracle of miracles, the seed did not land on a barren wasteland as it had all the other times before. It found fertility. There were tears of joy and tears of relief and tears of, "I can't believe it finally happened." And all 3 members of the family had to wear diapers. One random man in the middle of nowhere had enough faith to just keep going and going and going until God came through on his promise. A baby boy was born, and they named him Laughter. So, my dear ones, it's interesting, huh? And we know that Abraham goes in discussion with his Lord because he loved people. And eventually he had such a great faith in his Yahweh. This is the story of our Monday. Tomorrow we're going to go on our beliefs. My beautiful people, nothing is impossible for God. In every part, in every time frame of your life, where there is doubt, where there is confusion, when you are questioning God, that's human. But beyond all that, this is the one, the Godhead, who will never, never change. It is you and me who will transform into that person who will have to have more faith, stronger faith, even we're going in doubts, making mistakes and all that. But the main point is God will never change. And for God, nothing is impossible with God. Take that with you today and for tomorrow and the day after. Take it as the present moment, my dear ones. Our compassionate shepherd loves you. Blessings to all of you, my dear ones. May you find peace within. This is your Pastor Yeti. Bye.